There are some tiles here that have some special symbols. Most of our tiles are river paths like this, with different sections of a river, but some of them have this algae. Here, golden algae symbol. They are worth more points at the end of the game. And one other kind of tile we have is the alligator tile. Fish can't move from this tile. The fourth kind of action a player can make is to move any of his fishes anywhere from the board to through a legal path. For example, here on these boards, this would be a legal continuous path to these pawns. The idea is that each player will be trying to rotate and change this board to create a legal path like this, to allow his fish to travel from the center point to the corner lakes, something like this. Whenever you do this action, whenever your fish reaches the corner lake, you get to add all the tiles for which your fish has passed to a personal pile. So in this example, if I had my fish like this and I went through this path, I would take all these tiles here from here. They will be available to count for scoring later. And after my turn ends, I get to rebuild the board with the tiles, the tile pile right here. The object of the game the goal of the game is to get as many as your fish as you can in the corner pawns. The game ends whenever a player has used his last fish into a lake, or these tiles are no longer available to build the main board. The alligator, as I said before, is a special tile that blocks most fish, and it cannot be swept or rotated. It can only be destroyed and substituted by the available tiles here. The fishes in the game all have different abilities. There are 5 kinds of fish in the game. You have these 2 basic fish. They have no special ability, but when they are at a lake, they count as if they were 2 fish for a criteria of majority in each of these lakes, which will score you points in the end of the game. We have this yellow fish that tricks the alligator. He can trick 1 alligator tile through his path, so he can use an alligator tile as if it were a cross-section river. We have this purple fish here that he pushes other fish around. If you have a fish in the middle of the path, not you and no other player can take a fish and move through that space. This fish, however, can push other fish out of the way. Whenever he reaches a fish that is blocking his path, his movement ends and he pushes the fish to another legal space or adjacent to it. We have this fish that can pass through other fish. It's the only one that has the ability to pass through blocked tiles. And we have this fish that can spin a tile at the end of his movement. So in a situation like this, my movement would necessarily in a situation like this, if I move this fish, my move would necessarily end here, because this tile is blocked. There's no river path here. But this fish, at the end of his move, he can rotate the tile he's in, and if there is a possibility to continue the movement, he can continue the move, right? For the full game, we use these 5 kind of fish, but for a simpler game, we eliminate most of them. We maintain the normal fish, the alligator fish, and a fish that collects these algae tiles that in the basic game, in the normal game, any player can get those. So gameplay would proceed between players as they move their fish around the board. Every time they get to a lake, they get to add these tiles to a personal pile. At the end of the game, these fish will be at several places in the board, and we will go to a scoring phase. Basically, if you have majority in any lake, you get 5 points. If there is a tie, you go to the next possibility. So, in this case, there's only 2 players. But if there were a third or fourth player, and this game was designed to 4 players with 4 players in mind. If there were a third or a fourth, you would go scoring by first place, second place, third place, and so on. This gives the basic points for the game. Additionally, we have these special tiles here that score you 3 extra points for every condition you have met. For example, if you are the one with the most lakes in the game, you get this tile and earn 3 extra points. If you have a single lake with the most fish in it, you get this tile. This one is for the one who has the most tiles in his personal space, and this one is for the one who has the most algae tiles in his personal space. Each one worth 3 points, and draws are not scored. So if 2 players are drawn in algae, they wouldn't get this tile, for example. For this game, although the theme of the game here is light-hearted for family, fish game for everyone to play. We were thinking of shipping this game with the 2 versions we designed. The one that would be work just like I have stated here in the rules. Another that would be a more simpler version of this game that could be played by more young children. And perhaps if the rules as written now and as they were explained here in this video seem too complex for a family audience, we were thinking of changing the theme to a spacecraft game. Instead of fish, you'll have ships with different abilities, and these will represent hyperroutes through a galaxy or some such. And you would be trying to leave a place and put your ships at these corner spaces, right? We think that the thematic change would allow for perhaps an audience that's closer to the complexity of the game as it stands today. Although here in the prototype we have miniatures of fishes, they can easily be swapped by tokens or some such. It's not necessary for these to be miniatures for the game to work. And I think this is it.